Well, Steve, I guess having conceded the goals late last night and the same happened again on Saturday, is that a concern for you?
Well, it's a concern, of course it is. It's hugely disappointing because it wasn't just the last two games. It's been, if you analyse Stoke, we're one up even though we've got 10 men. We're 4 or 5 minutes to go. We're up against West Ham. So it's just one of them crazy situations that you find yourself in. I can't remember in the 16 years or the 30 odd years I've been involved in football where we've conceded, goals in the last couple of minutes to really cost us. And last night in particular has cost us our place in the cup because we're going very, very nicely, played very well on the night. And unfortunately these things happen and it's our turn, but it's hugely disappointing, as I said, because I do believe, it could have been a wonderful start for us, considering the new number of new players we've had in. It could have been a great start for us rather than just an okay start.
If you hadn't conceded that goal against Newcastle at the weekend, you'd be level with Manchester City on points as well, wouldn't you?
Well, it's all ifs and buts in the Premier League, and that's what we're up against constantly. I mean, people have all got good players, whether your West Brom last night, we're just speaking of Alan Irvine. All teams in the Premier League have got really good players. But the one thing that we've managed to do in the last couple of years in particular is to get out the Championship and to stay up last year and get to a cup final was based all around our ability to hang on to a lead, our ability to see it through. And unfortunately, the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's gone the other way. So we'll have to get back to them basics, if that's what it is, basics, and make sure. Well, we'll have to defend properly on Saturday, that's for sure, against a really, really outstanding team.
With a new centre-half pairing, you've got Andy Robertson at left-back. Is it still a case of the back four?
Well, they didn't play last night. And, I've just analysed the goals overnight. We concede from a throw-in and we concede from a corner kick. So all the defending, what you can do, they are basic, elementary stuff. And last night we've conceded from both of those situations. And yes, there is work in progress. Yes, we've got new personnel, of course we have. But unless we find ourselves and getting that mentality back to be difficult to beat and difficult to play against, then we're going to have nights like we did last night, which unfortunately has happened too often.
I know you made wholesale changes last night. Manchester City played a lot of their key players. Is that sort of a good thing, bearing in mind you've got them at the weekend? Some of them might be a bit more weary.
Listen, they're an outstanding team and the champions of this country. And to be champions of this country, you have to be one hell of a team, and they are. Let's make no bones about that. So we played well against them last year twice, and we weren't good enough to get anything from them. We know that on the day we've got to play at our very, very maximum, and whoever Manchester City play, then we hope that we catch them on a bit of an off day, and that can happen in football, and we've got to believe that it can happen. We've got to make it as difficult as possible we can for them on Saturday.
Is Hassan Ben Arthur, bearing in mind he put in a key pass last night for one of the goals, is he somebody figuring in your thoughts?
Well, there's no question that he can always pick a pass. He's got fantastic ability. We also have to bear in mind that he hasn't played since last February, which is a hell of a long time. So, he might have a part to play on Saturday, but certainly I still think there's a lot to do with him in levels of fitness-wise, and still got a lot to do before, obviously, we let him loose on the Premier League, because it would be wrong of me to ask him to play 2 games in 4 days when he hasn't played 1 game in 7 months. So we'll have to box clever with him. Everybody knows what abilities the kid's got, and he'd be a big asset to, I'm sure, but we have to get him in the right terms of fitness levels before we even contemplate. I mean, last night I was contemplating taking him off with 15 minutes to go, just to save something. But with injuries and all the rest of it that went on last night, that wasn't possible.
Tom Ince obviously scored again last night. How close are you to agreeing a fee for him?
I think that's still ongoing. I do believe that our chairman and the chairman of Blackpool are trying to get together before we go into the realms of committees and setting fees and all the rest of it. So, but as far as I know, the two are likely to meet this week, I believe. Whether that's this week or next week, I'm not too quite sure.
Harry Maguire, again, somebody who's not figured too much so far. How interested are you in perhaps letting him go out on loan?
Well, I said last week that there's no, I don't think there's any benefit in letting him go back to Sheffield United. And the one thing I've said to Harry and I've said to him is, look, if there's not enough game time for you, then we will look to then maybe put him out on loan. You know, it's something I will look at for a few players, because you can see last night people need games, and sometimes it benefits them. Matty Fry, we did it fantastically well last year. He went out to Sheffield Wednesday and played 6 or 7 games and come back and did very, very well. So it's something that we may look at the moment. I'm just delighted that Harry is with us and getting used to playing in the training regimes that we're getting used to. So he's only a young boy. The future is very bright for him. He's just going to have to be a little bit patient.
And just finally, Ryder Cup this weekend, obviously something that grips everybody's imaginations. Same with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been wonderful over the last few years, and I think it's grasped everybody's imagination. And we wish the Europeans the best of luck, because it's something that we all look forward to, and it's one of them great sporting events, isn't it, that it's turned into. And there's nothing better than a big sporting event. So let's hope we can turn them over.
And you'll be tuning in on Sunday, will you?
I'll be tuning in Sunday if we possibly can. Not going to see much of it Saturday, and won't see much of it Friday, but hopefully we'll keep Sunday free to have a look.
Can I just ask you about your defence and just pick up on two of those points? Because I'm hearing you've got a really good, solid 4. You know, Dawson in now, and Robertson I think has made a great start. So what do you have to work on?
Well, I think it's very easy. I think it's very, very easy to just blame the defence. Right? Last night we conceded from a throw-in and a corner kick. That's got nothing much to do with the back 4 or individuals in there. The one thing as a team, we've got to find that resilience back and defend better and stop making the elementary mistakes. For example, at Newcastle on Saturday, I counted 4 mistakes in 1 goal. 4. Now, that can't happen, not at this level. So we have to eradicate that. I think it's very, very easy to just say we blame the back 4. It's not the back 4. When you're playing against somebody like Manchester City or Newcastle, you have to defend as a team and get that balance right. Now, we're young in terms of being in the Premier League and getting to know what it's about. We were built, certainly in the Championship and last year, on a resilience not to get beaten, not to give much away. We've tried to be a little bit more expansive. We've scored twice away from home against West Brom. We've scored twice against Newcastle away from home. We've scored twice against West Ham and not won a match. So we have to find that resilience back, which is not just the back 4 and individuals, it's a team effort, and get back to that resilience, what made us very, very difficult to play against and difficult to beat.
And does that mean then you might switch from a 4 to the 3/5?
Possibly. The one thing we're going to do is we'll have to defend and play well as a team. And I've said that how many times against the big boys especially. However, Manchester City are coming to town. Let's relish the challenge of it. You know, the champions of this country, they've proved again what a really, really fantastic team they are. And we'll have to be at our best to get something from them. Whatever formation, which system we play, defensively as a team, we'll have to be right.
Yes, because take the 7-0 away, they showed resilience, didn't they, with 10 men to come back against Chelsea?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't become champions of this country, twice in the last few years. And we know with the rare talent they've got, the players they've got, they're just an exceptionally good team. Arguably as good as you get in Europe, I would have thought. So we'll have to be at our best.
Can I just ask you one question about last night? And obviously you played, I don't want to use the word second string, but some of the players that weren't getting regular games. Has that given you more ideas as to what your should be
the big thing for me last night was, if you're going to keep a big squad, you've got to play them in some games. Otherwise, if they're not going to get a chance to play, then it's the whole thing becomes pointless. We made 9 changes against Middlesbrough last year in the start of the FA Cup competition. Because we win the game, then you get questioned on it. I've got no doubts at all that the right thing we did last night. And we were 2 minutes away from getting a really good result with a so-called second string. But I don't really call it a second string. There's some people who played very, very well last night. Some people not so well, who've ruled themselves out of this weekend. However, the team now, the squad, has got that game under their belts, which makes it a little bit easier. The problem is now is we haven't got that cup football anymore, so we'll have to find games for them, and some might find a route to go out on loan. That means they're not finished here, but some of our younger players might just do that, and that's something I'll look at.
Thank you.
Any update on Myler from last night?
We haven't. He's very, very sore, very, very sore, and for him to come off, then there has to be something wrong. So we'll see how he is in 24 hours, 48 hours. But this morning he's very, very sore. But he's away for scans and X-rays, and we'll see how he is.